To pay for Dad's treatment, I had no choice but to deliver food on New Year's Eve, racing through the knife-cold wind. When I handed the birthday cake to a customer my own age, he suddenly tipped the box and let the layers slide onto the slate floor. "You call this delivery? Do you have any idea my mom had this cake custom-made for me?" Before I could answer, two familiar figures stepped out of the chandelier-lit hallway. My Vances. Dad, usually frugal to the bone, spread his arms like a banker. "It's only cake. Our Leo deserves the world. Dad's giving you this lakefront mansion as your birthday prize." Mom, once happy in thrift store denim, now wore the kind of haute couture gown I'd only seen on award shows. She clasped his hand, diamonds flashing. "Mommy's only precious baby can't let trash spoil his night. Here's the wristwatch you love, don't be angry anymore." Leo scooped up the smashed cake and pitched it at me, frosting splattering my down jacket. "Lucky dog, dinner's on me." I hugged the ruined cake, mouth open, when my phone blared the one-star review chime. Chilblains cracked across my knuckles, my shoes had holes big enough to swallow the snow. My heart felt colder than the marble foyer. Because of Leo's one-star review and formal complaint, I had to pay for the four-figure cake 300 deliveries worth of wages. I didn't have the strength to argue. So this was what mansion corridors felt like, warm air kissing your skin while your soul froze solid. The door flew open again. Leo flicked something gold into the slush. My mother's birthday locket, the one I'd saved 6 months to buy, landed at my feet. "Mom says she's got nowhere to junk it. Looks like her stray needs a collar. Bark for me." He folded his arms, laughter echoing off the portico. When I said nothing, he leaned closer. "Born, but never raised motherless mutt." Something snapped. I lunged, fist clenched, and met the heavy slam of solid oak. I hammered on the panels, desperate for the Vances to see me, to explain. Boots crunched behind me. 3 security guards loomed, badges glinting. "I belong in there, those owners are my Vances," I said, voice cracking. The tallest guard scanned my stained uniform and cracked shoes, smirking. "Houses here start at 8 figures. You're maybe 800 total. Dream at home, kid." The others laughed, electric batons humming closer. "Walk, or we'll help you fly." I scooped up the broken locket and ran, snow filling my shoes like shards of glass. At the corner I spotted a body crumpled on the black ice. To keep from sliding into her, I hurled myself sideways. The cake box burst, frosting smeared across my face like a clown's mask. I lay staring at the swirling flakes, tears hotter than blood tracing into my hair. Then the custom ringtone burst out, Dolly Parton's 9 to 5, the one I'd assigned to the Vances in case of emergency. Mom's voice spilled, frantic. "Sweetheart, why so long to answer?" I was scared something happened. "The Vances are useless, making you deliver food on New Year's Eve. We're so sorry." I gripped the phone, every question sticking in my throat like fishbones, emerging only as a sob. Dad's cough rattled in the background. "Good kid, it's Dad's fault you're stuck out there." Any other night I would have lied, told them I was fine, promised we'd be okay. Tonight I stayed silent. Dad mistook it for fatigue. "Tomorrow's News Day, take a break. We'll celebrate together." Mom whispered, excited, "Mommy has a surprise for you." I swallowed the ache and managed one word, "Okay." A passerby paused, phone ready to dial 911. "No ambulance, costs too much," I blurted, scrambling up. "Check on her." Beneath a knit cap lay a silver-haired woman, eyes alert but body limp. "You're young, go on," the stranger said. "She looks bad." A delivery boy can't help. Cars skidded on the hill, horns blaring. Snow erased footprints, leaving her isolated exactly how I felt. I slipped an arm under her shoulders, dragged her to the bus shelter, and called 911. By the time I reached our rented bungalow it was 4 a.m. I stared at my reflection, face painted in buttercream and shame, and whispered, "Happy birthday." I had turned 22 today. My Vances had welcomed the new year by showering money and love on someone who shared none of their blood. I trembled through a shower, then dove under the quilt thick, yet never warm. Because we were poor, our place squatted at the edge of nowhere, and to save money we hadn't paid for heat. I used to wonder why Dad collapsed every winter, and why Mom always insisted on nursing him back at a friend's in town. Now I knew they were escaping the cold, hiding in a lakefront mansion, living like royalty. When I was small and fevered, they'd carried me 2 miles through a storm to St. Luke's. Mom tilted the umbrella until every drop hit her, not me. Dad once slipped off a curb into a flooded gutter, skinning his knees raw, yet kept me high and dry. They asked only if I was hurt, never mentioning their own bruises. How could the same Vances fake poverty, fake sickness, fake love just to keep me from school and tethered to their lie? I pressed palms to my eyes and laughed until it hurt. Who was I kidding? Their new neighborhood charged more in HOA fees than I made in a year. I couldn't even afford to breathe their air. I was their entertainment. Their real son wore designer sneakers and threw cake in my face. Dawn leaked through the towel we'd nailed over the broken window. The alarm buzzed 5 o'clock, time for the morning delivery rush. For the first time since I was 18 I stayed under the blanket. At 8 the second alarm rang, the daily reminder, I'll trade my life for Dad's health. The words felt like a slapstick joke now. When the sun finally crawled above the roofs, thin warmth crept across the floor. At 10 my phone lit up. Sweetheart, no call this morning, are you sick? Did you fall? What's wrong? Their anxious voices rang in my ears, but I felt no warmth. I hadn't realized their acting was this polished, that they could fake concern for a son so convincingly I'd once believed they truly loved me. Theo? Theo, why aren't you saying anything? They kept calling. I drew a long breath. I'm tired. The Vances froze, then fussed, what's wrong? Is the job too hard? Only my ragged breathing answered. Since I turned 18 and started delivering, I had never once complained of exhaustion in front of them. A moment later their voices rose again. Son, it's Dad's fault you're suffering. It's freezing, quit the delivery gig. If you get hurt, we'll be heartbroken. Mom jumped in at once. Yes. Today's news day. Let's celebrate as a family. You've wanted McDonald's since you were little, right? A friend gave me some coupons, let's go together and celebrate your birthday. We even brought you a birthday cake. Their giddy tone didn't infect me. Still, I answered obediently, okay. I wanted to see how long they could keep the act, how real they could make it look. I put on the best clothes I owned and walked up to the mall entrance, my first time ever setting foot somewhere this upscale. As I started to cross the street, a sports car screeched to a stop in front of me. I recognized the driver at once. Leo lowered his sunglasses and smirked. Well, if it isn't yesterday's mutt. He patted the hood. Mom's coming of age gift, nice, huh? He flashed his wrist, the diamonds on his watch blazed in the sun. Funny, why didn't your mom give you a watch? Oh right, I forgot, the Vances don't love you. This cost 7 figures, you couldn't afford it with a lifetime of tips. Speaking of which, my parents stayed up till midnight with me yesterday, and Mom cooked a whole feast herself. Same birthday as you, remember? I wonder what yours prepared. He gunned the engine, dust blasting my face. Watching him speed away, my heart sank even lower. On my 18th birthday the Vances handed me a delivery starter kit. You're a man now, son, time to earn your keep. Inside McDonald's the Vances' eyes glistened with expectation, searching my face for joy. After all, at 22, this was my first ever taste of the McDonald's I'd craved since childhood. Happy birthday, sweetheart, blow out the candles. On the table sat the same leftover cake slice Leo had nibbled yesterday. Mom followed my gaze, flustered. Your dad's still in treatment, but we still wanted you to have some ceremony. The cake's small, but it carries your wish. What present would you like? We'll get it. Maybe guilt over yesterday's lakefront mansion and $1 million watch for Leo made them unusually generous today. Really? The Vances nodded. Of course. You're our only child, who else would we spoil? I almost laughed at the worn-out clothes they'd dug out for this act. Remembering Leo's taunt, I stared at Mom and spoke slowly. I want to eat a meal you cook yourself. Mom froze. The obedient, self-sufficient son had never asked such a thing. As far back as I could remember, she hadn't cooked me a single dish. I'd assumed she couldn't. At 7 I volunteered, burning and cutting my hands without complaint. Only now did I realize her skills were superb. She simply couldn't be bothered for me. She avoided my gaze, mumbling, "Sweetheart, I want to, but I've never tried. It might taste awful. Pick something else. Then buy me a wristwatch?" I pointed at the one on a nearby customer's arm. Silence slapped the table. They exchanged glances. Dad coughed into his fist. "Son, you've got your phone. What do you need a watch for? You know our situation." "Look, Mom chimed in, tears brimming. "Theo, you've always been the good one. Don't compare. Being together matters more. We can't afford an expensive watch. Your dad's illness, who knows how much it'll cost?" She dabbed her eyes, utterly pitiful. "You work so hard delivering, we can't waste money like that." Disgust surged in me. Just a couple $100 watch, yet it was too much, whereas Leo's multi-million gifts sparked no hesitation. Seeing me mute, they pulled me down and placed the lone chicken leg into my bowl. "Eat up, son. You need meat, you're too thin." I forced a smile. "One meal a day, of course I'm thin. If you truly cared, why the lies? Saying Dad has cancer, claiming we're broke, ordering me to quit school and deliver when you knew I wanted an education. Vances, I want to go to college." Instinctively they looked at each other, contempt flickering. "Theo, you're not the studying type." Mom hesitated. "Do you remember your college entrance exam score?" They dared mention it. The day I finished the math section, they staged Dad's relapse. I abandoned the test and raced home only to find the apartment empty. They said they'd been transferred to another hospital. By the time I located them, the exam window had closed. Their excuse: "It's already been treated." My dream crushed with a shrug. "Theo, eat." So this was McDonald's, bitter on the tongue. Noting my mood, they heaped more food onto my tray. Half an hour later, Mom's phone rang again. Guilt flashed in her eyes as she cut the call. Marketing spam these days, so annoying. It rang again the second she rejected it. She let out a dry, humorless laugh and ducked away to answer a call. A few minutes later, she looked at Richard, her face drained of color. "The hospital just scheduled an emergency test. I'll take your father over right away." I feigned concern. "Mom, let me come with you." They both flinched and waved me off. "You've worked hard delivering food today. Go home and rest. I'll take care of your father. Someone in this family has to earn money. Today is my only day off in 4 years. Can't you let me stay beside you a little longer?" I finally let the hurt spill over. Tears shimmered in my eyes, but I held their gaze, pleading. My humble begging seemed to soften them. "Well, let's sit a bit longer." Before we could sit, their phones rang again. Richard showed his screen to Eleanor. Their expressions tightened another notch. "Theo, you're an adult now. Don't be selfish. Know what matters. Your father's attending just messaged we have to go immediately." I grabbed her hand like a dog wagging its tail for scraps. "Can't you stay until my last birthday candle's out?" Eleanor's brows snapped together, impatience crackling off her. "Birthdays come every year. It's a lousy birthday, hardly important. Theodore, stop being childish." She yanked free, her nails carved a long, angry welt across my knuckles. Am I that disgusting? Not even worth a minute more. I'm their real child. Why can't they spare me a single drop of love? Why do they keep lying to me? I couldn't deny the truth any longer. The Vances don't love me. I buried my face in my hands and sobbed. Just as I turned to leave, someone settled onto the chair opposite me. "If you want to continue your education, I can fund you. My team requires a semi-sealed, 10-year commitment." Think carefully before you decide. My phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. Asterisk, I only said I twisted my ankle and the Vances dumped you for me. Blood means nothing, you'll never beat me in their hearts. Asterisk, I clenched the phone, sudden recklessness blazing through me. Asterisk, Mom, I've been in a crash. Asterisk, the next second her call hit my screen. Sweetheart, are you hurt? Where are you? We'll come right now. Before I could answer, I faintly heard Leo yelp in the background, my foot, God, is it broken? How will I get into a university like this? Eleanor's voice grew more frantic, but not for me. She tossed off a careless, go to the hospital if you're injured. Your father's in critical condition, I have to get there first. I'll visit later. You've always been strong, you'll be fine. The black screen now mocked how stupid I'd been. How dare I vie for affection against their beloved son? I looked at the stranger across from me and made up my mind. Fine. I accept. I'll join your team. ###4 Before I walked out for good, I left the gold locket I'd saved for months to buy Eleanor and the wristwatch meant for Richard, my last gesture of filial duty. In that sub-400 square foot apartment, my personal belongings scarcely filled a grocery bag. I stuffed everything into a trash sack and hurled it into the compactor outside. From this moment on, we were strangers. A week after I vanished, the Vances finally realized I hadn't answered a single message. They dialed again and again, only to hear, the number you have reached is no longer in service. Panic set in. They rushed back to the frigid, crumbling flat, but I was long gone, lost in an ocean of mathematics. On the table they found the gold locket snapped into pieces and the wristwatch they once scoffed at as too expensive. Eleanor stared, stricken, calling my name, Theo? Theo, where are you? The Vances are here to spend news with you. Richard, suddenly not the feeble patient he pretended to be, strode into the room that held only a 0.8-meter cot. He spun toward Eleanor, terror in his eyes. Our son's gone, he ran away. Eleanor's mouth fell open. Impossible. Theo's always been sensible. He'd never do something so rebellious. Maybe he's out delivering food? But when she saw the empty room, my rider jacket the only thing fluttering on a nail, her knees buckled. He's only 22. He handed every dollar to us, how could he survive out there? Their gazes snapped to the broken locket and the watch. Cradling the necklace she herself had flung aside, Eleanor sobbed, Theo gave me this on my 18th birthday, his 18th. I remember leaving it at Leo's place. Why is it here? Could it be? In unspoken dread they thought of Leo. Richard hesitated. We raised Leo, gave him everything. Why would he be jealous of a son who owns nothing? We indulged his every whim while we were harsh to Theo. The more they talked, the guiltier they felt. Eleanor's expression hardened. They sped to Leo's lakefront mansion. Meanwhile, Leo lounged on his sofa, gloating into his phone, told you Theodore's got a birth mother who doesn't want him. He can't compete with my dog, for pity. Eleanor burst in, slapping the phone from his hand. Who gave you the right to slander my son? Who says he has no mother? Understand this, Theodore is my flesh and blood. Richard, face purple with rage, kicked Leo without a word. We fed you, clothed you, and this is how you repay us? Theo never fought for anything, why must you smear him? Sprawled on the floor, Leo couldn't believe the parents who adored him had struck him for their invisible biological child. Vances, no, it's Theodore's fault. He provoked me, said I was cursed, deserved to be abandoned. I only vented to my friends. When love is gone, every excuse sounds hollow. Eleanor grabbed Leo by the hair and smashed his face into the half-eaten birthday cake on the table. Her lips trembled with regret. The delivery rider that day, that was Theo, wasn't it? You made sure the cake came to our door on purpose. Leo thought his plan flawless, but it had unraveled in minutes. Mom, you ordered the cake yourself, I had no idea. And I didn't even know he existed back then. He tried to argue, but Eleanor yanked a stack of documents from her bag. The screen above them lit up with every single thing Leo had done. You paid another writer to hand the order to Theo, smashed the cake on purpose, and made us furious. It was all your scheme. We gave you everything you asked for. How dare you do this to our son? Leo saw the look on their faces and knew explanations were pointless. He dropped to his knees in front of the Vances with a thud and kowtowed twice, forehead smacking the marble. I did it because I love you. I was terrified you'd abandon me. A low IQ loser like him will only drag the family down. I'm the smart one. I deserve to be your heir. Vances, you promised I'm your only son. We three can still live happily together, forget that mongrel Theodore. Richard couldn't contain the rage any longer, he swung a vicious right hook into Leo's cheek. Who are you calling a dog? Theo is our treasure. You're nothing but the mutt we kept at the gate. Leo couldn't believe the Vances who had spoiled him for years had turned on him in an instant. No, we're the real family. Theodore is the spare. Eleanor, always gentle with him, now glared with bloodshot eyes. Theo means gift of many blessings. You're the unwanted one. We raised you only because your blood was useful. Leo's vision blackened, he slumped to the floor, muttering, impossible. If you didn't love me, why did you pay for college, buy me cars and condos? Richard let out a cold chuckle and produced the property deed. The name printed on it was mine. Leo rubbed his eyes hard. The deed clearly had my name. When did it change to Theodore? Richard's tone was icy. Theo is our only child. Who else would my estate go to? You, the rabid dog that bites the hand that feeds? Leo stared, bewildered. But whenever people asked who I was, you never corrected them. You even brought me to every public event. Eleanor leaned close to his ear. That was so you could draw fire from vultures circling our fortune. You were just a puppet. All bravado drained from Leo, tears streamed as he shook his head. No, you love me, this can't be true. Since you broke Theo's heart, you're worthless now. Drag him away. I never want to see him again. Leo tore free from the bodyguards and dropped back to his knees. Don't throw me out. I'll be your dog. Woof, woof. See how well I bark? From now on, if young master tells me to stay on my knees, I won't even crouch. Please don't drive me away. The Vances stared at the creature groveling before them, shook their heads in disgust, and waved. A thing without dignity doesn't belong in our home. Take him out. As the guards hauled him off, Leo kept barking, hoping for a scrap of pity, but this time the Vances didn't spare him a single glance. The Vances tapped every contact they had to find anyone who knew me. They started with my fellow riders, humbly begging for the tiniest clue to where I might be. The co-workers looked the couple up and down for a long, skeptical beat. These two are really Theodore's parents, the almighty Vances? Doesn't look like it to me. Theo's old man has cancer, right? This guy's ruddier than Theo and looks fitter too. Exactly. If I had a kid, I'd never force him to survive on 4 hours of sleep and life-risking shifts. People like that don't deserve to call themselves Theodore's parents. Under the co-worker's scalding sarcasm, Richard's face flushed crimson, then blanched. Eleanor nudged Richard's ribs, the signal was unmistakable. Richard scurried to the trunk, hauled out several gift bags, and bobbed his head in an ingratiating bow. Thank you all for looking after our boy. These are our Lunar New Year gifts. Please accept them. When one rider casually took a bag, the Vances exhaled in relief. Tisk, President Vance's generous limited edition liquor handed out like candy. The rider then waved a fat red envelope, smacking his lips. Look everyone, President Vance sure lives up to his title, even the scraps he throws to dogs are fat. Richard, accustomed only to deference, had never endured such mockery. Don't push your luck. Take the gifts and tell us where our son is. Eleanor added urgently, please, he's our child. No one loves him more than we do. Oh, now you know how to curry favor. In the 22 years since you gave birth to Theodore, where were the illustrious Vances? It's freezing out here. To earn money for your medical bills, he didn't even have a proper down jacket. If we hadn't bought one and forced him to wear it, he'd have frozen to death. On most days he let himself eat only once a bowl of thin rice porridge or a steamed bun and still nearly blacked out from hunger. Where were his parents then? Bark like dogs, and maybe we'll tell you something about Theodore. Richard clenched his jaw. Don't you dare go too far. The coworkers burst out laughing. That tiny bit of ridicule stings? When Theodore got threatened with one-star reviews and extorted, he knelt and begged them to spare him. He even crawled between their legs to avoid losing pay. The Vances' faces drained. They'd thought delivery work was easy, never imagining such humiliation. The coworker continued, most of us writers just get sent on extra laps. Theodore must have been singled out because of you people. Eleanor whispered, could it have been Leo? Richard ground his molars. If I ever lay eyes on Leo again, I'll do worse than toss him out. How dare he torment my son? But didn't you allow it? In Theodore's world you played the roles of deceivers and belittlers. You shattered whatever love he thought you had. Theodore has already given up on this family. My mother shook her head in denial. Theo has always been the sensible one. Once we explain everything, he'll understand. Please, tell us where he is. My father bowed deeply to them. Just give us a hint. I'll do anything. Hesitating only a few seconds, he finally barked, woof woof woof, please, I know we were wrong. From now on we'll treat him right. Coworkers, we don't know where he went. On New Year's Eve he rushed a fallen old lady to St. John's, and the next day he told us he'd met a benefactor and was leaving. Maybe ask her. Half a year later they still tracked me down. The Vances stared at me with tear-filled eyes. Son, we've searched the earth for you. They stepped forward to embrace me, but I stepped aside. I looked at them coldly. Sorry, I don't have parents, I'm on my own. The Vances burst into sobs. We're sorry, so sorry. We love you, it was all a misunderstanding. I gave them a sidelong glance and laughed without humor. Love me? You hid our fortune, sabotaged my chance at college, and favored a stranger at every turn. My mother shot back, we had reasons. When you were born you had a rare blood type. Leo's mother hemorrhaged and died, his father abandoned the sick child. Because his type matched yours we adopted him insurance, just in case. At age 3 you nearly died, Leo gave you blood and almost lost his own life. Guilt made us indulge him. Eventually his ambition got out of hand. We pretended to deed him the house, the cars, hoping he'd expose himself so we could cut him loose. I frowned. Then why hide my background from me? Your father's and my company is huge. We feared enemies might use you against us, so we let Leo be the decoy. So you told me I had cancer to make me fend for myself? Let me go hungry and cold so I'd miss the most important exam of my life. The Vances looked guilty. I went on. You actually considered switching us, letting the high-scoring Leo become your real son, but you couldn't stomach erasing me yourselves, so you ground me down, hoping I'd just fade away. Then none of it would be on your conscience. They gaped, managed only, no, we love you. I cocked an eyebrow at their performance. I used to think you adored Leo, I was green with envy. Turns out you love only yourselves. Once you saw he planned to grab everything, you remembered me. You use Leo's cruelty to excuse your own selfishness. Sorry, I'm not buying. I once raged at your lies and begged for scraps of the love you gave him, but inside the Whittaker I found a new purpose. Stay away, let's spare each other. Mother pleaded, we were wrong. Only after you left did we realize nothing matters more than family. Give us another chance. We're first-time parents, we make mistakes. But you're not first-time children. You don't love me, you're just afraid no one will bury you. Stop this farce. Theodore many plus extra, I've always been surplus. Go seek the one who brings you glory, Leo. I won't forgive you, and I won't be part of your life again. Don't make me hate you. I walked away without looking back. Theo, everything we own is yours, come back and we'll sign it over. We'll buy you a yacht, a jet just return. Theo, our son. The cries faded behind me, I never turned. Even then they didn't grasp that some things money can't buy. 10 years later the research project I joined produced major breakthroughs. In that decade I passed the GED, aced my master's entrance, then my PhD qualifiers making up for the chances they stole. I returned home for a symposium and unexpectedly saw two familiar figures. The Vances, now in their 50s, hair already snow-white, froze when they spotted me. Our son, we were so wrong. I glanced at their calloused hands, no joy at the reunion, only puzzlement. Bitterly they recounted their fate. After I left they took Leo back, but he preyed on their wish for an heir, swindling them again and again until the assets were gone. By the time they noticed, debts towered and Leo had fled abroad with the cash. Penniless and middle-aged, they hunted for jobs. Who hires 50-year-olds with no skills? In the end they took the dirty, sweaty work they once despised. I peeled their hands off my sleeve, voice calm. We're strangers now, but I'll send a monthly stipend to repay the debt of birth. Address me by my name. This time they had no face to beg, they could only repeat, we're sorry. After the symposium, conversation drifted to the Vances ruin. I heard the adopted kid flaunted the stolen money overseas, got scammed in turn. Leo thought he could rule the roost inside, but they broke him. Now he's neither man nor woman, kept alive just to suffer. I picked up my teacup and walked off. Other people's tragedies are none of my business. I still have a future to claim.